What's up, loungers? I hope everybody is doing as great as I am. This early morning, late night. It's actually late night for me. I'm actually about to turn in a little bit. But before I do, I did want to acknowledge some people and definitely acknowledge everybody who has been, just kind of giving their critiques and, saying little things about the new AFW series that just came out. I did tell you guys that if I had any side conversations and stuff like that I would go live with what's called now the Surviving Series side notes. Okay. So this is kind of where we'll sit back and just, kind of give accolades to each other, give special thanks and things of that nature. Also, kind of go over some critiques in regards to the show and take into consideration those critiques as well. If there are any updates or anything that I need to let you guys know about, this would be the place that I'm going to do that. The reason I'm this late doing this is because honestly, this week is going to be swamped with all kinds of stuff that I really need to do. So I'm not sure if I'll be able to do this at any other time during the week. So I wanted to make sure that I at least went and acknowledged everybody who has reached out and everyone who has sent cash apps, as well as, various posts across, YouTube has been talking about this and everything. I really, truly, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate every single one of you. Okay. I'm not going to call out names because, again, people don't always want people to know that they've sent, a couple of dollars or whatever. But it is acknowledged, and I want you guys to know that I truly appreciate every single one of you. Even the ones that aren't sending cash apps, those people that have sent information, people that have looked up stuff for me and different things like that. I appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart, truly. Those that already have certain things out here that are allowing me to use certain content of theirs, I truly appreciate those things as well. And as I reveal that information, I will, of course, call you out because this is your work. Okay. But thank you to those who did provide that stuff. So I wanted to get those things out of the way and then also tell you guys some of the updates that are going on as well. Okay. Now, first of all, I may do, as you guys may already see, I do have some shows already set up. So the first one that I have set up is for Friday, okay, which will be the Surviving the AFW, the Evidence Room, okay, part one. So there in that space is where I will be presenting evidence of the people that I've already interviewed, okay? And I will be presenting the evidence that they are presenting to, the sector or whoever is watching in regards to this. At that time, I will allow the sector or whoever's in the chat to vote on the evidence, okay? You will be able to decide whether this evidence is credible evidence or whether this is not very credible, right? And if it's not credible, we're going to kind of put it to the side and we'll make an executive decision, probably amongst my moderators, of whether or not this will be evidence that we will present, okay, as evidence against the AFWs. Other evidence that we feel, is, credible evidence, then we're going to go ahead and present that as evidence and, and enter that as actual evidence against what the claims against the AFWs, okay? So that's kind of how that's going to go. I'm going to do the voting by poll. So I'll make sure that I do have polls set up in the chat while we're doing that. And I was going to do like an upload for it, but, I'd rather do a live stream because I think it's better to interact with the chat and people that are watching the show to kind of get you guys feel on things. Okay. I did take note of that from YM. Shout out to YM. I'm actually going to read her message. And I really agree with everything that she said. So I'm going to go with, that kind of style of it and just let everybody vote and decide whether or not, this information is something that is credible or not. Okay. Hold on one second, guys. Let me take a look at the chat. Hey, guys, I appreciate you guys being in the building. Stephanie Collins, Gemini 75, and beautiful, and everybody in the clouds as well. I appreciate all of you. If you guys can just hit the like button for me, I would really appreciate it. And thank you, beautiful. I appreciate you saying that it's an excellent series and that it's going well. I appreciate that. And I do believe that it is going well as well. It has definitely sparked a lot of chatter around the sector. Which I think is a good thing. It's also sparking chatter in other spaces as well. So shout out to those people that are sharing the information and, are interested and, are definitely making comments to let me know that they're watching. So shout out to them as well. Let me look. I know there was some other stuff I was saying. Okay, so I think I told you guys about the evidence room. So we're going to do that every time I have. So I did 2 interviews, well, 3 interviews already. So we'll be presenting the evidence for the 3 interviews we did already. We'll be presenting that evidence as of Friday. Okay, so we'll be presenting that. We'll be talking about it. We'll be voting on it. We'll be deciding if this evidence is credible. Okay. I feel like the evidence is credible, but again, it's not just up to me, right? I'm not the only person watching. So I do think that it's important that we get, audience input into this at least. Okay. So that is the way that I think is a good way of doing that. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that evidence won't be presented, even if the audience feels like it's not, right? I mean, obviously it would be if we're watching it, but this is kind of how we're going to handle this. That way it comes out fair. Okay. And then the next one, I do have 2 more interviews set up for this weekend coming on Saturday as well as Sunday. Okay, so those 2 interviews, after those interviews are over, those 2 will also have a chance to present their evidence of fact of, against what, they're saying in regards to the AFWs. We will have another evidence room session on the next Friday after that. And then I will do the 3rd interview, the final interview on the 3rd. Okay. That interview, after that interview is done, then that person also has the chance to present evidence. However, their chance is a little bit shorter because that Sunday is when I will be presenting their evidence, of whether or not, this is credible evidence or not. Okay. And then we'll be done with the series after that. Okay. So in between that time, I do expect to present some KKC receipts. He has some really, really great receipts. And I have some commentary that I want to do on that. So I didn't know how I wanted to incorporate that, but I'm thinking that if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna have to do it in the evening. So the only night that I think I have available is Wednesday nights. And so I probably will do one on this Wednesday and another one next Wednesday. And that should be able to cover everything that I have as far as the KKK. Sorry, KKC. As far as the KKC receipts are concerned. Okay. And there is a plethora of information in that. I also have some information from, shout out to Dr. Nikki. She gave me permission to use some of her information as well. So I will be doing some information on that. And I do also want to present 2 other things. So I told you guys about the about ANTI and the Social Security Administration. I do plan on showing the evidence of that. And then I also plan on showing evidence of the TikTok with Rev G. So those things is what are to come up, along with a couple other highlights here and there of some things. Make a Change. When Make a Change hears this, I do want to get in touch with you. There is some information I'd like to have from you. And if you allow me to, I would like to present that and into the evidence thing as well. Okay, so that's kind of like where I'm at right now. That's pretty much all that I have. But I just wanted you guys to know before I do turn in, because like I said, I'm not going to have time these next few days to kind of run this down. But Wednesday night, I'm going to push for Wednesday night to try. If not Wednesday, then it will definitely be Thursday night. Okay. Where I'm going to try to put in some KKC receipts that I can definitely show and that will corroborate a lot of the stories that have already been told. So, yeah, we're definitely going to get into all of this stuff. But I truly, truly appreciate you guys for all of your efforts and supports for being here, hitting the like button, hitting the dislike button. I didn't get any dislikes for the Me and Mine story. I did get 2 for Carrie's story. Okay, it is what it is. But, I really do appreciate all of you. In closing, I want to read YM's post. But shout out to all of y'all. You said thanks for the update and good luck with your series. I'll be here to support. Thank you. I appreciate that. You said your stocks are going up. Thank you. You said the block is hot, baby. You got these people out here tripping. Chow, I see. I see. But shout out to the gods. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say about that. But we'll get into that much later. not much later, but this week we'll actually be touching on some things that I saw today, and I think should be presented as actual credible evidence. So yeah, we'll definitely be talking about that stuff. But anyway, let's go ahead and close this out with the Critical Chronicles of YM. Shout out to her. She definitely has critical, a critical way of coming at a situation. And I actually like that about her because it gives her, it gives you the opportunity to kind of see things from a perspective of someone who's not going to pat you on the back and make you feel good about everything. They're actually going to tell you the truth about some shit, right? And I can appreciate that because I'm the same way. So I appreciate that and I can respect that. Hey, Divine, I appreciate you being in the building as well. You might have to red ball a little bit on the things that I was talking about in regards to updates and everything, but everything is going pretty smoothly, and I'm really, really proud of this for real. I did have to make one grammatical error correction. But I caught it, and I don't guess nobody else did. Nobody said anything to me, but I did catch it. So it is what it is. I fixed it now, but hey, I'm human. But either way, nobody else really said anything about that. So shout out to that. But yeah, we got that all straightened out now. And okay, we're just going to go there. But anyway, shout out to YM. Let's go ahead and read what she had said. She said, my critical review of Surviving the AFW Part 1 mini web docuseries. It was with great anticipation that I tuned into Black Lounge Divine channel to watch the first part of the docuseries. I have been a harsh critic of the AFW organization and its followers for the past few years. The highlights of tonight's first installment of the series lie within the approach that the creator, T. Pre, has taken. I appreciate the way that T. Pre set ground rules and norms for her chat environment and clearly laid out the way that the show would proceed. These moves gave her live stream a more serious, investigative tone than past shows. Another strong piece of the show was the short introductory video trailer that gave an overview of the AFW and why they present a problem in small online communities. The AI narration and video visuals had a professional touch. Much of the verbiage in the narration was familiar to me, but something new and fresh was the mention of what it means to be cyber harassed and how this group is a small example of a larger issue throughout social media. It's my hope that T. Pre expounds on this in subsequent shows. The first interview with Carrie Ann, also known as Miss Thangs, had potential to strongly support what the introductory video purports about the AFW's menacing, problematic, intrusive presence in online spaces. The first third of the interview was adequate, but when the interviewee took control of the show and overtalked T. Pre, it turned into a bitching session between homegirls. The tone was ruined, unfortunately for T. Pre, but I did notice how she tried to get it back on track. I would have liked to have heard more about the AFW's direct actions and the effects on Carrie Ann and less about her opinions of AFW members' physical appearance, their mental stability, their level of intelligence, her ideas about feminism, and her insulting tone towards another content creator, etc. For much of that segment, it felt more like that shit talking and less like a serious piece, which is what T. Pre seemed to be aiming for. I will, of course, be watching part 2, so on and so forth. Who knows, I may even contribute to this project. In my opinion, this show was sort of a toss-up. I'll give it a solid 5 out of a scale of 1 to 10. The potential is there, so I give it an overall A for effort. To improve the next episode, I encourage T. Pre to do more prep with her guests so that they know how to better support the goals of the documentary and the parameters of the live stream. I'd love to know what you think. Okay, so thank you first of all for all of that. I really appreciate that. Let me take a sip of water real quick before I answer that. I definitely appreciate your critical analysis of that, and I actually agree with most of what you said. Right? There's actually a couple of things that I disagree with. One of the things was, because of course everybody has their opinion about different things, and I think that's fine. But the biggest part that I would like to say is I don't want to prep anybody in the interview. The biggest thing I want to do is let them know the direction that I'm going with the interview, but that's kind of it. I never want to like prompt them or prep them for what to say or what to do. And I really wanted to be sure I didn't do that because I don't want to influence the interviewee in any kind of way. So they don't even really know the questions that I'm going to ask them. I didn't even ask the same questions to, as you guys can see, I didn't ask the same questions to Carrie that I asked to Me and Mines and to Grown Men, right? I had different questions for each one of them because each one of them have a different story. And so it's important to me that they are telling their story from their perspective, not from my perspective, right? I have my perspective about them. And I did see some commentary. I'll talk about the comments that I saw, and I appreciate the comments as well, because you guys really gave some great commentary on this. But I will say that, I really think it's important that the person that I'm talking to is talking to me from their perspective and that I am not giving them anything to prep for. I'm not giving them any time to prepare any answer or anything. So everything you guys are hearing is authentic. Okay. It's from the heart. It's literally, this is what they feel. Okay. This is exactly what they're experiencing. This is kind of why I like the fact that we saw what we know about Carrie Ann. Carrie is a feisty individual. This is who she is, right? This is kind of what we know about her. I appreciated seeing some comments like that under this post, and I'll get into that in just a second. But her and I get along for a reason. It's not because, one of us, dominates the other. It's because, there's certain qualities that we both have, that kind of marry to one another. Okay. So, even if there's certain things that we disagree with one another, we have ways of being able to talk to each other and get past or through those things and even have an understanding about why it went that way even later. Okay. So I actually appreciate it, even though I get it, right? I didn't necessarily want it to go that way, but I'm glad it did because this was her authentic self. This is who she is. This is what she does, right? I don't want her to be anybody else or try to put on airs for anybody or any of this. I want you to be yourself in telling your story, okay? Because that's the only way your story is going to come out authentic. That's the way she was able to express what happened to her students. That's how she was able to express how this really affected her, right? Is by being herself. And so I appreciated that. I really did. And so shout out to Carrie for everything that she contributed to this. And, I get it. I'm not saying that I probably may not have had the same critique if I had seen something, along those lines on somebody else's show. But I understand the relationship and the relationship dynamic that her and I have and why we're able to have those types of conversations with each other this way. And, because we talk like this behind the scenes too, right? About, regular everyday life things, right? We talk like this, about all kinds of stuff. And we have little disruptive conversations like that. I interrupt her, she interrupts me, like this is just kind of how we are. So I really appreciated the authenticity of the conversation. And, how it came from a very genuine place. And that could be appreciated much longer than, and for a much longer period of time than somebody who's putting on airs and pretending and, being somebody that they're not. So that's kind of where my thoughts are with that. And there was one other thing. I know you said something else here. Thank you about the narration, the AI narration and stuff. I thought that was important to make that as professional as possible. And so I definitely wanted to do that. And I appreciate you acknowledging that. So thank you for that, especially someone coming from somebody like YM, who's into this kind of stuff. So shout out to her for, at least mentioning that. My goal, though, guys, and there's two things I want to mention with this. My goal is not to, teach the world about, the crimes of the internet and teach the world about, social issues on the internet and all this other stuff. That's not really my goal with this series. So I really don't intend on really, expounding on that too much. I think that the AI narration gave enough and it talked about what we're talking about and what we're focusing on. because the focus itself is on the AFWs. It's not on, that, right? I don't want it to go to that, and then we lose sight and lose focus on who and what we're talking about. Okay. And as you guys have noticed, you may have noticed, I have constantly redirected the conversation to them. Okay. So, and that's in all of this, right? Because that is what the goal is, and that is the focus. The second thing I want you guys to know is the whole AFW honorable mentions. I love that part of it because it brings humor to it. It also, highlights some of the people that are involved with the AFWs, right? And, it just kind of, tends toward their credibility when it comes to them being these fraud warriors looking out for the Black community, right? But these are the kind of people that are in their corner. My goal is not really to do a lot of exposing of them, right? I don't have intentions on kind of messing with the small fries in this situation. They're kind of like the small fish, the Stargates, the remixes. They're more of the small fish in this. We're not looking for them too much. We're looking for, the bigger picture, which is the larger group of the AFWs who have been around the longest, which is Anti, Rev G, these people. Okay. So these are the ones that we're really looking, you got to cut the head of the snake off, right? That's the one. And, the bottom and all that stuff can get regenerated. So, like, as we see, right? She has dropped minions and picked up new ones. And, so that's irrelevant. These are kind of just fun little, banter and stuff to throw in there and just kind of see, show everybody how that really is. But the goal is not to, to focus on them or to focus on non-AFW members or, any of that stuff. The focus is not, the goal of, going back and forth over, who's right or wrong in different situations. When it comes to people that I believe, and I will present evidence of, people that I believe that particularly wanted to fight with each other, right? I don't want those kinds of arguments and drama on the channel. That's not the intentions of this, right? I think that would really hurt the integrity of, the series in itself. And I have no intentions of doing that. So that's not going to happen. Okay. Now, anybody who does want to interview, there are specific rules that everybody has to go by. I'm not bending any of those rules. So, if that's what it has to be, that's unfortunate. I'm not interested in that. Like I said, my goal is not to, to take anybody's side. I'm not trying to, vindicate anybody or any of that shit. I'm literally trying to show what the AFWs have been up to and how, they have tried to turn the stuff that they are doing on us as a sector, regardless of who it is. Okay. Whether it's Smoke, whether it's me and Mines, whether it's Grown Man, whether it's me, whether it's D. Durrell, whether it's Shaquem, right? Let's be real. Because he has a portion of this story too. Okay. So, there's a lot of people that they have done some really egregious things to. And, we'll talk about those things, later on in the series. But again, like I said, these are things that I do not want to focus on. Okay. Those are not my intentions. So you guys are going to hear, at least 3 more interviews. And, you may not agree with those people in those interviews, but this would not be the time to argue about those things. We can have a healthy discussion about it to get to the bottom of it. Right. And again, you'll have the opportunity to see the evidence that the person is presenting. Okay. Before you make a healthy decision about it. Okay. So, and you'll be able to vote on it. Okay. So, keep all that in mind, while you're listening to these interviews and, don't take everything to heart. Everybody has their own opinion of how things are and how things went, and how this story played out. But each one of us have, a piece of that puzzle. And, when we put, our pieces together, it really creates the full picture. And everybody's kind of telling the same story. Even the AFWs are telling the same story. Like, that's the crazy part. But we'll get into that in the evidence room, guys. Okay. But anyway, shout out to Dr. Nikki. She said, I appreciated the clever way she highlighted a strong supporter of that group. It's very interesting how she has reinvented herself and is conveniently forgetful of her venomous diatribes and disdain for Black women in this sector. Absolutely. And I'm glad that I was able to highlight Stargate, with that. Um, because she definitely is trying to reinvent herself. And I think that's dangerous when, we know things about people and they're going places and we know that they're purposely trying to infiltrate those places as if, they don't have a past, that's, literally yesterday, right? And just absolutely nuts. And they're trying to pretend these aren't things that they actually do. So shout out to Nikki for that. Um, and then YM said, I'm mixed on that segment. I wholeheartedly agree that it was clever to highlight the associate and to break up the show with a little humor. The clips were important in that they showed the character of the AFW folks, but the video segment dragged on kind of long for me, and the music was a little bit too impish. But yeah, the intention behind it was very fitting. Maybe the video editing could be tightened up next time. Okay, I'll take that into consideration with that. Yeah, I think that I do need to tighten up that at least, but otherwise, I think the message came out right. So shout out to both of y'all. And then Defrauding said T-Pre did a lot of really professional looking things. I like all of the aesthetics. As many know, I'm big on that. The editing looked perfect, and there was a really good receipt. I think Siga did a great job of humanizing herself. She did a great job of explaining the offline impact it had on her students. She pointed out the utter foolishness of how the disability angle works. The cons were taking shots at non-AFW members. Got to be slightly more careful in language, emotion, and tone. The interview and intro style didn't match. That was a bit of a stark contrast. I feel the way the interview went left room for poking holes. We have to remember that AFW found a new hub. In that place, the creator will poke holes in things he understands. It is important to keep things off his level. Don't sound professional, and so that don't sound unprofessional so that he can't use that as a talking point. I think I have more to say, but I need to watch it a second time. Thank you for that input. I do appreciate that. And I can agree to a lot of things that you said there. I definitely agree with the part of her humanizing herself, and not trying to kind of put on airs and be somebody that she's not, and definitely being herself, I think was very, very important. I think all three of the interviewees so far have done that and have done a great job of humanizing themselves and not trying to, put on something as if, this happened and that happened, but this didn't really happen. Like they were honest about, everything. And I really appreciated that. I really, really appreciate that. And I'm looking forward to you guys' critique of today's show as well. Okay. Or, Demi and Mine's and Grown Man show as well. Taking shots at non-AFW members, I agree with that. That's something that I don't want to do going forward. That's not something I intended to do at all, because that's just not what we're doing here, right? But I get what happened, and I had a conversation with Carrie about that, and I understand why she did that, and I don't have any gripes with her about it based off of what we talked about. So we're good on that. But going forward, I can see what you mean, and I do agree with that. So yeah, and I agree that the poking holes in the thing, they can try. But again, I want everybody to remember that we're presenting actual evidence. So we're going to do separate live streams where we are presenting the actual evidence and putting them, into like exhibits for everybody to look at. This will be exhibit A. This is exhibit B, right? For this particular case. And, we're doing it like that. So that's how that's going to be. And we're going to vote on the evidence to be able to see whether this evidence is even credible. If we feel like it is credible, then we will leave it there. Okay. If it's not, we will strike that from the docket. Okay. But this is how we're going to be presenting this. And so, again, they can poke holes in whatever they want to, but if the facts are there, they're just there. That's how you put somebody to bed. That's how you put somebody to rest, right? That's how you lay somebody in the dirt, when you actually put the evidence out there and then you just leave it there. You don't need to get emotional. No need to get upset and go back and forth with them. Ain't none of that. They can do that all day. But when we present the facts and the evidence, there's no getting around that. That's just that. So, and obviously the channel ain't going nowhere. So anyway, so shout out to you for that. And I agree with most of what you said. You said good point regarding the human. So YM said good point regarding the humanization of Carrie's story. I think her situation is a prime example of how unhinged people can become when they clash socially online. Okay. All right. And so Josephine says, I like the commentary in the AI video. I was very interested and impressed by how AI explained things. I would have liked the first guest to be T'Pri herself in the video format, her story as it relates to the AFW. She was here in the beginning, screen name and all. I could do that. That is a thought, right? You said the Carrie interview in a video format played to the audience would have been much better. The live would have been a Q&A and an AC for me if you include Carrie's commentary. You said it's an AC for me if you include Carrie's commentary. Thank you for your feedback on that. That is a thought. I had thought about like actually telling you guys my story. I might throw it in there somewhere in one of the evidence days or something along those lines, because there is some evidence that I will be presenting that is related to my story. So the night that I do the evidence for me, I will probably do my story then. Okay. And then we'll just do that. So shout out to you for that. But I didn't want to come out with me. You know what I mean? Like, I think that there's so many other people whose story can be told. That's much more compelling than mine. That's the reason why I didn't just go with mine. But yeah, we'll talk about mine too. So I will do that. And shout out to you. I appreciate that. Brixton says that I thought for, oh, I'm sorry, guys. Hey, QT, I appreciate you being in the building. Okay. You said, I'll be catching the first part of the series tomorrow. Okay. And Steph Collins, you said, these are really important, especially when people are trying to reinvent themselves. If someone had done something like this for us when Breakin' came over here. Yeah, I agree with that. And I wish I had done this in that format then. But, the Vixen Chronicles are still there, and they're very strong. People are still watching them. I'm still getting commentary on them and everything. So, people appreciate it. And, I don't have any complaints about that. So shout out to them for that. We're just going to leave the Vixen Chronicles the way that it is. But I think that this one is much more important to break down actual evidence and facts, because these people will lie. And they're still lying, right? And they're still trying to present, facts and everything else. And child, listen. So anyway, we're just going to let them do them. Okay. And we're going to just, we're not, like I said, we're not going to get emotional. We're not going to go into engage in no back and forths or any of that. There's no reason for that. The evidence is just the evidence. It doesn't matter. You can say all day that the sky is orange, and everybody can see the sky is blue, and there's evidence of that. Then, it just is what it is, right? You can scream all day, eventually people gonna look at you like you're crazy. But anyway, so Brixton says, I thought for a first episode, it was cool. You're right about T'Pri, looking to set a more documentary type tone with it. I did like the fact that there were captured screenshots that had been deleted community posts by the object brought to the forefront. More of that as it would go a long way in determining the thought processes behind the leader, plus pointing out her severely hypocritical ways. Carrie will be Carrie, LOL. I expected some ish talking, and you know me, that's the language I enjoy. But she also managed to at least clarify some key points, such as how a lot of the aggression is predominantly one-sided in her situation, etc. Obsessive nature of AAS, constantly talking and posting about Carrie Ann, even though Carrie Ann rarely does content on her, etc. I know Ms. T'Pri did say the chat would be given an opportunity to ask interviewees questions, so I imagine once she gets her groove and format set, we will get a bit more of that. I'm not too pressed it didn't happen in this first one, as I imagine future guests will probably go into depth with that, along with tangible visual evidence, perhaps. I know I'm going to enjoy the special mentions of the AFW segment. It also highlights to outside viewers how the Goof Troop has minions willing to do their donkey work. However, the audio was a tough listen, even though I heard it live at the time. Hearing it again was very cringeworthy. I like Star, but that stain will forever remain, unfortunately. And she was super wrong for that. I do anticipate the rest will be funny though. Yes, I actually do anticipate that as well. You said in closing, the edits and effort on episode one have me locked in for the rest of the series. Agreed on Stink Meter. He will see this as an opportunity to get on his clout chasing agenda. And of course, the object will be pulling his strings in the background. Don't forget, old TikTok man will have a lot to say too. Hence why Miss T. Pre has gone down the route of receipts. I just hope future guests have tangible evidence on backup, some claims as well. Shout out to Black Lounge Divine. Shout out to you, Brixton. I appreciate that. And let me go over what you were saying. So, yes, as I said a little bit earlier, for those that are just coming in, hey, Steph, I appreciate you being in the building. You said that's what I'm saying. You were doing a great service to YouTube and the whole world in general. And this is the second time you've done something like this. Thank you. I appreciate that. So, yes, I am. And what I will be doing is basically I will be, hold on. You said no one else has done the work to warn people about these people going around from place to place on YouTube. You have done the job nobody else did. Thank you for that. I want to acknowledge that there are other people who attempted to do this and also people who have, such as KKC, for instance, right? However, he didn't go into as much detail about some things that I would like to. He did go into detail though about things that he knows in regards to the AFWs and stuff like that. And I would definitely like to highlight those things. I appreciate him for providing that evidence, and we will be entering that into exhibits A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. We got all kinds of exhibits on the KKC receipts. Okay, so we'll be keeping up with that. But either way, shout out to him. And there's other people like Let Me See Your Transcript. She also did start off the Surviving Anti, but that didn't go very long. I know she did the Beautiful Bernice. There were a couple other people I think that talked with her, but there weren't many of those episodes. So, this one is really, really detailed, and there's a lot of things that we're doing in regards to it, especially the evidence room. I think that is going to be the kicker because I want the people to be able to tell their story without having to come up and show this and prove that and drop this link and all this other stuff, right? When we can just present all the evidence at one time and even go over it, right? And talk with the audience about it and everything else. So that'll give the audience an opportunity to, to be involved. Also, that'll give, everybody who is looking at this, the chance to critically think and come up with their own, ideas in regards to all this and stuff like that. So, so that will be the time where you guys will definitely have the opportunity to present questions and stuff like that. The night that I am presenting the evidence, the people that have been interviewed will have the opportunity to hit the panel and, get questions answered if they want to. Okay. If they don't want to answer questions, I'm not going to force them to do that. They've done enough by doing the interview, right? And then presenting the evidence as well. But they can be cross-examined, right? I think that's the thing. So, Divine, you said, Miss Teeper, you're doing a great job overall. I definitely enjoyed me and Legends episode. Thank you, Divine. I appreciate that. You said that's right. She did. Yeah. Okay. So, you said, hey, Poetic Flacco, I appreciate you being in the building. You said, miss you, Teeper. Hope all is well. It is. I'm glad. I hope you're doing well as well. All right. So that's kind of how that's going to go. So shout out to you for that. Let me go up a little bit. Thank you for the compliments on the edits and stuff. And I appreciate that. And that was the goal, is to lock you guys in and to want to keep watching. You said, you said, what's going on? And I'm on my way out, but hope all is well. Okay. Yeah, I'm doing good. You said, I know I'm going to enjoy the special mentions of the AFW segment. It highlights the outside viewers, how the Goof Troop has minions willing to do their donkey work. And that is what I wanted to do. I know that it was cringe, right? This is kind of what's going to happen with them. Like, that's the kind of the point of it, right? Is for it to be cringe, because these are very cringe people, right? I don't want to be light with them. I don't want to, present them as if they're some kind of saint, because that's how they're presenting themselves when in actuality, this is who they really are, right? Shakim didn't make up a damn thing about Remix. I definitely want to say that too. Shout out to Shakim. You know, we ain't the best of friends, but you know, he didn't make up a damn thing about Remix. He actually showed the evidence of it. Okay. So, you know, I'm not going to present nothing that, you know, I don't have evidence of. And that's just that. And he definitely showed that. Some other men, you know, had expounded on it in the sector. They talked about it. And, you know, that's just kind of where we're at with that. So, I don't know, Remix, you know, you might want to get some expungements going on or something. But, you know, I don't know if you can get that expunged, but, you know, you might want to do that before, you know, some people over there in the beef sector start pulling your motherfucking records, because I'm pretty sure they already have. Okay. But either way, you know, this is it's very easy to find this stuff. It's not hard to find, you know, a guy living in Chattanooga, Tennessee, named Dennis Dixie. Okay. But anyway, you know, that's just what that is. So, but yeah, shout out to you for that. I appreciate that. But yeah, these are kind of cringe things. And, you know, it's unfortunate we got to show the cringe side of these people, but, you know, it is what it is. And then you said, you know, Carrie's going to be Carrie. And I agree with that, you know, and I like that she was herself as well. Yeah. And then, yeah, so the screenshots and stuff will definitely continue to be a thing. I have a lot of evidence to present. So, you know, and like I said, we'll look at this evidence and we will decide, you know, whether or not this is credible evidence or not. Like I said, what I see and what I'm going to be presenting, I feel is credible. Okay. You know, and you guys will hear why. Now, as I get more evidence, then, you know, I'll let you guys know whether I think it's credible or not, but I will present it. Okay. And, you know, and that's kind of how that will go. Let's see what else we got here. I think that was the last one. Yeah, that was the last one. Yeah, make a change that I was waiting. I will come back later and give my take. And thank you for that. I know your take is going to be quite interesting, but I'm actually looking to grab something from you if you allow me to. So let me know. Maybe I'll catch you in a chat. You can always email me at lovinglife7842@gmail.com, or you can give me your email and then, you know, we'll go ahead and go from there. Pretty easy, real quick, something I just want to do. I already have it. I just wanted to know if you would give me permission to use it. So that's all I just kind of wanted from that. All right, so I appreciate all of you for being in the building. Let me make sure I don't have anything else to say. Okay, so my heart is clear. My mind is clear. I'm ready to take my ass to bed. You said he's always making a telling distinction. I don't have any felonies, child. All right, y'all. Well, I appreciate you guys for coming and hanging out with me for just a few moments so that I can give you guys some quick Survivor Series side notes and some quick updates and some special thanks and all that stuff. And I am about to take my ass to bed so that I can get my ass up bright and early, get a little exercise in, get a little breakfast, and then take my ass to work and work for the rest of the week. Okay, because the month of August, I'm going to be doing some other projects. I'm starting a new project, a personal project that I'll be starting in August, so I won't have time to be doing most of this stuff. Also, I will be going vacationing, so I'll be doing a little bit of vacationing in August as well. So, yeah, I ain't got time to be on these AFWs after this. Like I said, we're going to put this evidence out here. They can yell from the mountaintops that I'm a liar, and all they have to do is present that I'm lying, right? Present your evidence against mine, you know, and that's just that. All right, guys. So I will talk to you guys later. I truly appreciate all of you for being in the building. Make sure y'all hit the like button on the way out. If there is anybody that has any additional evidence in regards to this, that would be great too. You're welcome to send anything to me that you feel is evidence that should be presented in the evidence room against the AFWs. You know, I'm not prejudiced to anybody's thoughts on these things, right? It doesn't matter to me. If you feel like there's something that should be presented to, you know, in their favor, right? Bring it on. Okay. So we can go ahead and present that, but you better have a good argument to present with it. Okay. You know, and then we'll go with that. So we'll go ahead and go into that. And guys, I will talk to you guys later. I truly appreciate all of you for being in the building. And good night, y'all. And thank you guys again for watching.